I just absolutely crushed a huge bowl of this creamy Cajun shrimp pasta. Oh my goodness, is it so dang tasty? I know you're gonna love this recipe. So the Cajun shrimp pasta doesn't have this deep, long history in New Orleans like gumbo or even jambalaya, but it has been on restaurant menus the last several decades. Now, because there isn't this classical foundation, I'm going to use everything I know about New Orleans, like Roux or using the Trinity and a little bit of culinary intuition to make one dang tasty, creamy Cajun shrimp pasta. Let's begin with a little prep. Sound good? Let's cook. Time to make that trinity, beginning with a half yellow onion. You could substitute in a white or a sweet onion. Slice off the ends, slice it in half, then take off that outside peel, and then make sure to take care to small dice this. You are not going to want large chunks of onion in this pasta. Set it to the side in a bowl. Now I have 2 ribs of celery, and just like the onion, we are going to small dice this. No need to have large chunks of celery in the pasta. Set it to the side. And then for bell peppers, traditionally a green pepper is part of the trinity, but you know me, green peppers just don't have the flavor that red bell peppers do, so that's what I'm using. We are going to slice 2 sides off of this red bell pepper, so essentially we're using half of it. And just like the celery and the onion, we want to small dice this. Set it to the side in a bowl, and then next what we want to do is finely mince up 2 cloves of garlic. You can do that with a knife, or you know me, I'm running it straight through a garlic press. Set that to the side as well. And then next we have 2 Roma tomatoes. If you're making this recipe all year round, I feel like the Roma tomato can stand up in the winter. It still has really solid flavors. A cherry tomato is a great substitute. And yes, of course, you could use canned if that's all you have. But I don't want a lot of seeds in here at all. I just want that outside. So that's what we're going to do. Slice away the outside off of the main tomato with all the seeds. Then small dice these up and set them to the side. Now, I have 2 links of Andouille Sausage. These each weigh about 3 ounces. What we want to do is slice these up, and remember, I can't stress this enough, Andouille Sausage is smoked. So it's already cooked. All we need to do is really heat it up. Remember that, because when we start cooking, you'll need to know that. Now for the shrimp. I have 1 pound of 16 to 20 shrimp. That means there's in between 16 and 20 shrimp in 1 pound. These have their shell on, but they are deveined. Now there's a really easy way to peel these, because I know peeling them can get a little bit annoying. You pinch the legs and simply pull the shell around, and it will come right off. Now, you can keep the shell on if you just love the way that looks aesthetically. For me, I want to be able to eat it, so I'm going to take the tail off. Okay, just to show you one more time up close. Pinch it by the legs and then pull it off, and honestly, the shell will come right off. Be sure to take off the tail again, and all the legs, don't miss any of that. Then you see it's absolutely perfect. Set it to the side. Now, for the shrimp shells, do not discard this. I have a great shrimp bisque recipe. Just put them in the freezer until you're ready to make it. Okay, say you don't have access to deveined shrimp. You need to peel and devein, and I can't stress it enough. Invest in a shrimp peeler and deveiner. It's worth every penny. They're only a few dollars. Stick it right through and pull up. Boom, deveined. All you have to do is pull the tail off that point and maybe a few legs. Super simple. Lately, people have talked about the vein on the bottom of the shrimp, and I want to show you this. This is something I never really bothered with and still don't, but I want to show you. Using your knife, a chef knife or a paring knife, just slice barely in to the bottom part, and you can pull that vein right out. It's very, very easy to do that. Also, once you've deveined and peeled all of the shrimp, just run them under some cold water and just clean up anything that may be in there. Set them to the side in a strainer. Now for the blackened seasoning. I've got a fantastic recipe from my blackened salmon that you can use. It's easy to make and delicious. Or if you have a favorite recipe, or you just happen to have a jar of Zatarain's laying around, totally fine to use here. Really quick, just a few substitutes for you. If you can't find andouille sausage, you can absolutely use smoked sausage. And for the shrimp, you can use any size you want. Just remember, the bigger they are, the longer they're going to take to cook. If they're super small, they're going to cook like this, so you have to pay close attention. Speaking of paying close attention, this is going to move extremely fast now that everything's prepped. Hold on, watch very closely. Here we go. Let's bring those peeled and deveined shrimp back out, nice and drained, looking perfect. What we are going to do is sprinkle on 1 tablespoon of the blackened seasoning. You can add a little bit more if you really love that blackened flavor, or a little less if it's too intense for you. Using a spoon or rubber spatula, completely mix this together until everything is combined. Let's take the shrimp over to our cooktop where I have a large frying pan. We're going to add in 2 tablespoons of olive oil. You could use ghee, oil, or any favorite fat that you'd like. We're going to crank the heat on to medium, let it heat up for about 45 seconds to a minute. Then we're going to add in our shrimp. As soon as you add them in, spread them around the pan so they get a nice little sear on them. We do not want to steam them. And this part is incredibly important. We are talking about 2 minutes total for these shrimp to cook. That is it. So give them a stir after about 1 minute. And remember when I told you about the andouille sausage already being cooked? This is perfect. After your first stir of the shrimp, add that andouille sausage in there. We're going to cook it for another minute. Get a nice little sear on them. Some of them may not be all the way cooked, and that is totally fine because we are going to add it to the sauce at the end, and that will heat them up and cook them. Set the shrimp and sausage to the side on a plate to stop the cooking process. Return that saute pan over to the heat. We're going to add 2 tablespoons more of olive oil. And at this point, all those nice small diced vegetables that we cut up, we're going to add. So the onion, and next we're going to add in our small diced celery. And then, of course, last but not least, our small diced red bell pepper. Now I've turned the heat up here to medium high because we want to get a little bit of a sear on them. We are going to cook this for in between 5 and 6 minutes. We want them to be a little bit browned, translucent, trying to pull as much flavor as possible here. After that cooking time, this is when we are going to add in our finely minced garlic. Now, garlic cooks very quickly. They say once you smell it, it's already done. So once you put it in there, we're cooking it for maybe 30 to 45 seconds. That is it. Now going to old school Cajun country food, let's make a roux. So we are going to sprinkle in 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. We're going to turn the heat down to medium. We don't want the roux to burn. We're going to cook this for 2 to 3 minutes. We're going to take it past a white roux, maybe in between a blonde and a medium dark roux. This will add a lot of flavor and help thicken it up. Now what we're going to do is add in 3 cups of heavy cream. You could use whole milk or just half and half or a combination of any of those. I feel like cream gives the most flavor. Turn the heat up to medium high, and honestly, once it starts to boil, it will immediately thicken. When you know you're at a good place, let's swap out that spatula for a spoon. Let's coat the bottom. Run your finger right through the center. See that top part, how it doesn't go through the spot that you rubbed into the bottom part? This is called nappe. That means it's perfect. It coats the spoon. It is ready to roll. Turn the heat off at this point. What we're going to do is add in our tomatoes. I do this at the end because I want our tomatoes to have form and I don't want them to be mushy at all. Now we're going to season that up with salt and fresh cracked black pepper. Now, I know this is sacrilegious because there's seafood in here, but this is just the recipe. We're going to add in a half cup of shredded Parmesan cheese. Grab your spoon or spatula and mix this together until it is combined. Once it is combined, we are going to go back over and grab our shrimp and pour all that goodness in there. Again, mix it around to completely coat everything. It is nice and thick, but this is what we want to completely coat our pasta. A runny sauce just doesn't work here. Now, in a large pot of boiling water that's been seasoned enough to taste like the ocean, we are going to add in 1 pound of fettuccine noodles. You know me, I'm all about fresh pasta, and that's what I have here. Only going to take about 2 minutes for this to cook. Once it is finished cooking, we are just going to pull it out big chunks at a time and add it right to that saute pan. Don't worry, the water in there will actually help thin out the sauce a little bit. It will be a perfect consistency. Do not stress out. Once all the pasta is in there, maybe bit off more than I can chew with the size of this pan, what you want to do is mix everything together. And sometimes the tongs just don't work that well and the pasta starts to break. If I notice it at this point, I usually switch over to a rubber spatula and then I fold all of the ingredients together just like this. See how that pasta is coated, rich and thick? This is perfect, my friends. We're going to take it off the burner. It's almost time to plate up. Just understanding fundamental cooking techniques will absolutely help elevate your everyday cooking. Knowing how to make roux, how to roast vegetables, to pull as much flavor as you can to make this pasta as delicious as possible. This is very easy to plate up. We're going to add a few more things on top of it. Here is how you do it. If you've seen me plate up pasta in the past, you know that I like to make little nests. It just looks really pretty, and it's awesome to eat it that way. I'm going to make a larger nest because I have so much pasta, and I want to showcase a lot of the goodness on here. Once the pasta's in there, I go back and start adding the shrimp and some of the sausage and that protein, and I put it on top. More blasphemy from the Italians. We're going to sprinkle on a little bit more shredded Parmesan cheese over the top. It's going to look really great. And then I'm going to add on some finely minced parsley. The other option is finely minced fresh basil. This looks so incredible, y'all. Let's definitely get in this.